Need I say more? It is time. We are officially at this point. It's been put off and put off until I can't put it off no more. We have finally made it. The wait is over. It's here. The door's been kicked down. It's time to discuss The Ones Who Live, the Walking Dead spinoff featuring your favorite protagonist, Rick Grimes, and the love of his life and future wife, Michonne. We are here, people. 2 episodes, episode 5, and the finale. We've got thoughts, we've got opinions, and we're going to tell a little story with these episodes as we go through doing our analyzing, doing our discussion. And the only way I can do it is get right down to business. Episode 5. Before I get into episode 5, we last see our great survivors from the original Walking Dead series, Michonne, and the epic leader that he has made himself to be, Rick Grimes. They ride off into the sunset like nothing has happened. Rick's back in the right state of mind. Michonne has got his mind back where it needs to be. He's the old Rick that she knew from Alexandria. He is on point. He has decided to make his way home. She wants him to come home, and he has finally got over his confliction with the CRM. He has finally decided to say, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. They think we're dead from the chopper crashing into the high-rise condo that they was held up in, fighting for survival through the zombie apocalypse and the small horde that was located inside that building. They fought their way through like Vikings. Michonne suffered a little knockdown during that, but she's perfectly fine. No broken legs, no broken bones. She's back in pure shape, 100%. And Rick is on top of his game, minus the missing hand, which we all understand why he did that, because he had tried to escape from the CRM multiple times throughout the years, 4 exactly, the way they state in the series. And he finally said, fuck it, it's gotta go. You've got me on this line, you've got me as a puppet, and the only way to free yourself if you are a puppet is to cut the strings, and that's what he did. Not only did he cut the strings, but he cut his hand off to free himself to try to make the great escape. Which, if you follow the series, if you followed every episode, you've seen that the great escape for him by himself didn't always go as planned. Because we all know Rick Grimes, he has good intentions, but he kind of likes to rush into things, He doesn't take time to actually think about it, He's very emotional. He lets his emotions override him, He knows what he's got to do. But sometimes you just got to play the game to get the outcome that you want, Especially in a situation like that with the CRM, a big military thing there. It's not going to be easy to just slip out the front door and take off. They know who you are. They put you in there. something that big is going to come looking for you. In which I understand what he was saying when he finally ran into Michonne. Michonne finally found him, and he was just trying to protect what was left back home. But the CRM has this manipulative way of getting in your head, making them think that there is something good behind this whole operation, knowing that everybody Rick has come across, from Negan to the governor to Terminus to well, he didn't get to see the Whisperers or nothing like that, but just say all the major characters and major villains in this series, besides the Whisperers, they was bad from the jump because they were very, very fucked off in the head. They were following a leader that didn't have their good intentions, for real. She made them believe that, there was no good out there. Everybody was, one way, but she was very, conflicted in her own mind. But as far as Negan and the governor and stuff like that, they had good intentions, like especially with the governor and Woodbury. His problem was that you got all these people living like it was back in the day. It's not like that no more. The world is over with. There's no government, there's no laws, there's no this, there's no that. He got a power trip to his head. Yeah, people were safe for a little bit, but you're trapped behind these walls. You're not seeing the real thing. And Negan's point of view, he was pretty much like Rick. They were trying to survive, but the way he was going about it was the wrong way. He was basically, yeah, he had a sanctuary, he had a place or whatever. He had workers. Yeah, I mean, it's just like Alexandria, but the only thing was he had a power trip too, And plus, he was using his people like slaves. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong. The common line in this show is people are a resource. Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly understandable. But it's one thing people being a resource and help rebuild community and stuff like that. But it's another to treat them like slaves. And that's pretty much what I seen with the sanctuary. They were treated like slaves. They were made to believe that Negan, was their savior. I mean, come on, the group's named Saviors. They pretty much bow down to him like he was God. Well, there are similarities between Negan and Rick that are kind of the same, but there are also, how can I put this? There was a lot of difference too. You got to remember, Rick and his group have been out there. They've been on the roads. They've lived the savage's life. They've lost every place that they thought they could make a good home out of, from Hershel's farm to the side of the highway to anywhere they held up. They lived the savage life, It's kill or be killed. It's hard to trust anybody. They was out there. They walked the roads for years, and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that any of the other people, like the governor or Negan, the Whisperers, they never had a home. They was just out there, But I'm not saying that they didn't have hard times and didn't struggle, because I'm sure everybody did. Everybody did. But they got to where they were got in the comfort zone. But you got to see, Rick and them were out there. It's like Deanna stated, when they arrived at Alexandria. I mean, just take a look at this group. This group has really been out there. They know some shit. You guys are hiding behind these walls. You have no clue of what is going on out there. You think it's still the way it used to be because that's how you're living. What you're living is false. You're a fraud right now. You have no clue because you haven't been out there. We have, we've been there. We know the darkness behind these walls. And they're so used to survival. It's like when you take a wild animal and put him in a, environment that he's not used to. Well, I mean, he's not going to be able to adjust. He's just going to go ape shit. It's hard to believe, because they're going to look at you like. Even Carl stated it that season. He said, these people are weak. They might make us weak too. And then Rick replied back to him, there's no way. No. It's like when Rick was, talking to Carol, he said, if they don't follow the rule or if they don't understand and don't get with the program, we'll just take this place. Because they've been on the road so long, it's up for grabs. It's open season. It's either bow down or we'll make you understand, what you're living is not real. But anyways, that was a little Walking Dead series recap that I did there. A little, just talking about the protagonist. Let's get into episode 5. It starts out with some feet walking through the woods. We have no clue who this person is. My first impression, I thought it was Jadis, or I thought it was, I don't know, just some random person that it would start out with. Come to figure out as the scene opens up and gets into it, you look up, you see the hood. The hood is removed. It is none other than Father Gabriel, that we first meet at the end of season 4, I believe. Towards the end of season 4, after they get out of Terminus and find the church that Father G is held up in, which we all know he's done some bad deeds, but you got to give it to Father Gabriel. He's probably one of my favorite characters in the series. I didn't think I'd like him, but he has redeemed himself. He's been through hell. He's been through confliction inside of his brain. He's tried to sabotage the group, maybe once or twice, but he's still riding with the original band. He's he's part of the band now. He has come full circle, redeemed himself. Let's just say Father Gabriel has seen his fair share of shit along with Rick Grimes. Probably not as much, but he has seen a nice portion of it. And but none other than Father Gabriel. No telling what this is. This is, some years or whatever. Come to figure out, he has been meeting with Jadis throughout the years as Rick Grimes has been took away in the helicopter and been, and been over in the CRM military confinement. Every year they would plan a date. They would meet up. They would chat. And it almost makes you think that, maybe she would just slip up and finally just kill Father Gabriel. But you got to remember, back in the original series, her and Father Gabriel, she captured him, at one time when she was part of the, group that stayed in the landfill or whatever. Yeah, Father Gabriel was one of her subjects that she was getting ready to sell off for the CRM. Along with Negan and along with Rick. I mean, she captured Rick a couple times because she wanted to give Rick the business. The business. She wanted to lay up with some Rick Grimes. Rick's the man. Don't get me wrong. But she also had a thing for Father Gabriel. They had a little romance thing going there. So these two are meeting up every year, chatting, hanging out. I'm sure nobody in the Commonwealth or Alexandria at this time, depends on what time the period is, I'm sure nobody knows these guys they're meeting. Father Gabriel ain't letting that out. Nobody knows this, you know. And of course, I'm sure he's the way he states things. He's fishing for clues or whatever like that. But Jadis knows that the CRM is dirty, but she's not letting it out. But she is also battling inside her brain her true self and her CRM version. Can I get a link? Yeah, if I can figure out how to do it. Give me a second. I'll figure it out somehow. I'm on a tablet. It's a lot different on a tablet than it is if I would have had my laptop. I'd be able to do it simple, but let me see if I can figure it out. And Kate, if I can get you in here, I will get you in here somehow. Give me 1 second. Okay, well, give me a minute or two here. See what I can do. Hopefully I don't kick myself out.
Hey,
Kate,
can you
what
hear
is
me?
going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
All right. I don't know if you caught any of that in the beginning, but I was just giving a little Walking Dead recap with our protagonist and a little bit of everybody else that we know from the series.
Oh, cool. No, I just got done eating dinner.
All right. Yeah, right now I pretty much started episode 5 of The Ones Who Live. Basically, we're talking about Father Gabriel and Jadis and their secret meetings throughout the years while Rick is being, brainwashed with the CRM.
That
Basically,
I was surprised to hear that. I was surprised to hear, how they met like that. Let me go out and come back. I'm getting an echo. Let me come back.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Is that better?
Well, I didn't hear it, but hopefully it is.
Okay, sorry.
If there's an echo with whoever's in the chat, let's know if there's still an echo.
I think it's better now.
All right. But yeah, they've been meeting up and having a little powwow out in the woods.
When I first saw that, I was shocked.
And I wasn't even expecting Father Gabriel, and I guarantee a lot of people wasn't expecting him either. They was probably expecting somebody else.
I totally forgot that he even had a relationship with Jada.
Yeah, I had to go back and thank myself. I was like, yeah, there was a little shot back in the original series where they were kind of... And plus, you got to remember, she did capture him at one point, going to sell him off to the CRM. He was one of her sell-offs. It was Negan. She got Negan. She got Father G. And, well, we know she captured Rick a couple of times because she's got the hots for Rick.
Right.
On the low.
Right.
Yeah, but... Sorry, he's taken. Michonne will whoop that ass.
Well, and I was actually surprised. I mean, I liked the episode that Deanne wrote.
Yeah, where they actually got into the conversation, where she's basically in the chopper. We need a timeout.
Right. Exactly. And I'm surprised though that it took as long. I mean, if the man is willing to cut off his hand,
he tried many times.
Then he's not going to be wavering at all about being back with Michonne.
Yeah.
No way.
He's just trying to get back home, and that's what they stated in the series. You tried 4 times, They could have just shot him dead after the first time and be like, look, this is not working.
Exactly.
Yeah. But they seen the potential in him. That's what it was.
Okay, True said there's still an echo, but it's not too bad, so I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
It's okay.
Let's see. Well, if it ain't too bad and you can bear with it.
Yeah. But I did. I got the ending that I wanted. I think that's the ending that everybody wanted.
Yeah. Well, we all know the ending that most people wanted was him and Daryl, but Daryl's kind of occupied at the moment.
And who's to say that they won't do that later?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just speculation to come back with another spinoff, where Rick's finally home, and then Daryl finally makes it back home with Carol, possibly.
Right, or
and
just
him running into him.
Stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, guarantee it. But what about Negan? There's a reunion you'd like to see.
Definitely. Now there's going to be another season for that one, so I'm ready.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's because Negan's going to have to play a game, with these people, and he's going to have to resort back to a lot of his old ways that he's redeemed himself from,
Right.
And it's going to be weird.
Is he going to have to face the situation, though, that if little Herschel's going to be bad?
That's what the character stated, that playing Herschel, he's going to have a dark storyline in season 2. So it makes me think that Herschel, are you going to be a villain? Are you going to be one of the villains? Are you going to have conflict with Maggie? Are you going to turn evil?
Or is it going to be, again, where they're going to have to, he's going to have to go up against him and Negan?
Yeah, and Negan's going to have to basically do a Michonne thing like she did to Rick, get him in the right state of mind.
If that can happen. If that can even happen.
Yeah, because they want Negan to be this big leader guy and take over and unite everybody in New York, so it could be one big united front and him run the show, basically. But
it's going to be interesting to see, and I'm excited for the Daryl and the Carol thing.
I kind of am too. I mean, because when you get Daryl and Carol together, it's always good chemistry. It's always good dialogue, and
Oh yeah, right from the beginning.
Oh yeah, it's just where they're going to go with the story, because you got this kid that they think he's, I guess I could say they think he's like Jesus, and it's like a prophecy type of deal. Right. But I don't see it like that, and we all know how Daryl is with kids. We've seen him with Judith, we've seen him with RJ, and Daryl's the type of person. I mean, yeah, he'll leave home by himself and stay gone, because that's what he's like. He's out there. That's kind of who he is.
And I think he does really well.
I don't see him leaving family. Oh yeah, I mean, when they took Rick off in the chopper, I mean, Daryl pretty much had to step up as the new Rick, for the group. Yeah. Plus, he's been there since, day one. I mean, he's the day oneer, so.
I know, and I think it would have been mutiny if they would have killed off Daryl. Everybody would have been pissed.
Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah. It's like they always stated: you kill off Daryl, we're going to riot. Yeah, well, yeah. Right. And but Carol, I love Carol's character. Yeah, but I can see why her and Daryl relate so much, because Daryl actually got in depth with his character. They come from an abusive past. Like Daryl's father would beat on him, and Lord knows what they did to him for real, especially Merle, that sick sucker. But teasing him and calling him names. And then Carol come from abusive husband constantly. So yeah, they're going to click because they got similar storylines, similar backgrounds.
Exactly. And I liked the evolution of her character. I think they did a good job with elevating all of the different characters so they had their own identities.
Oh, yeah. And it's like I always stated, you got all these different people that come from different backgrounds, don't know each other from Adam and Eve, ain't never met a day in their life, probably wouldn't never. But now they're a big family, dysfunctional family at times, but big family. And it's just weird how they all just, it's like that.
And some of the characters I was definitely surprised on how the character evolved. I wasn't expecting it. And I was hoping to see Morgan come back into this, series, but
he's out looking for Rick right now with the walkie-talkie. Yeah. So you never know. We got to remember, Morgan knows about the CRM. He doesn't know how they tick from the inside like Rick does, but he's had his run-ins with them multiple times. So that could be possible for a next series. Morgan and Moe's out looking for him.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. And Morgan himself is definitely a day oneer.
Oh, literally! Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah, literally. First day out of the hospital, you meet that man.
That was good. And they threw so many Easter eggs in too with some of this in the series. When Judith got shot. Daryl, they were at the hospital and he couldn't get to her right then, so he threw the gurney in front of the door to her room.
Yep, that takes you back to when it takes you back to when Carl got shot looking at the deer, running through the field with him. Yep. It was a callback is what it was. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I like the way that they throw in some of the Easter eggs from long ago to the current situation.
Yep, it just kind of did it a little different, and especially with the Thorne character and the Ones Who Live. If you notice when she had Michonne in them sights, getting ready to pop one in her, that took you back to Shane with Rick in the woods. Yeah, when he had him in his sights, Daryl, but Dale. One of my favorite characters. I wish he would have made it further.
Same here.
But Dale spotted him, he said, yeah. And like when they got into that altercation, him and Shane, he said, you had Rick dead to rights in your sights. You could have popped him at any moment.
And it was kind of a fun reunion with that too, because the character of Dale was Dale, Andrea, and Carol were all in Stephen King's The Mist.
Yeah.
All three of them.
It's crazy how that works out.
Yeah. And when he was King was famous for using, multiple different, similar characters that were good. Because the one guy was in the Green Mile. He was also in the Langoliers, which was really good. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Koontz, Dean Koontz.
Absolutely, yeah. One of my favorite books is a Hideaway.
Oh, it is. That is good. That is a good one. And if you ever love animals, you cannot not read Watchers and Look at a Dog the Same Again.
Yep.
Einstein.
My mom's read that one. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, you must read. You must. That's a must. That's a must. We're gonna have to start doing a book club.
I'm gonna have to start reading again.
Yeah, hey, it's awesome. But
and you'll learn that some books are way better than the movies.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, gosh, Stephen King is known for his, 400, 500-page novels. And you can't really, only some of his, like The Mist, that was a short story. You were able to adapt that pretty well. Everybody loved Pet Sematary. I liked the first one. Okay. It was okay.
Yeah. These remakes they've been doing have been like especially movie forms, been trash, but you could never top the original.
No, and one of the books that for what they did with it, it was good, but Needful Things was like what, a 500-600 page book.
Oh my God! Yeah,
and they were not able to adapt it exactly what they needed to for the movie.
No. Pretty much, your devil comes to town. I mean, right.
Exactly. Back to the Dead. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
It's easy to do. Yeah, Back to the Dead. Father Gabriel, Jadis, they've been having their secret meetings, and he has no clue about the CRM and how dirty and crooked behind the scenes they're going, because he actually states that maybe your group can help our group, this and that. And she's like, no, it's just.
Well, she didn't want to expose herself either. She couldn't expose herself.
No, she didn't. And we all know Father G can keep a secret, because you guarantee he's all these years meeting up with her, he ain't spoke nothing about it.
No.
And she almost let Rick still being alive, because Father Gabriel did bring up Rick's name, but she's not going to speak on it.
No, and I did think it was interesting. She gave him the ring.
Yeah.
So I think she almost knew that she was not going to come back.
Yeah, I think she knew sooner or later, her time was going to end.
Well, and she also, remember, she had inside information on the CRM, so she knew what was coming.
Yeah, oh yeah, she knew exactly the operations that General Bill had planned.
Right,
because they had, and her character, like I said, goes all the way back to World Beyond.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It's a spinoff, yeah.
So yeah, her character. But I was totally thrown that she pulled a gun on Gabriel.
I thought maybe she was going to pop him off. I was like, well, that's to get rid of him. But I'm glad she didn't, because all of a sudden, well, I don't think the community would have actually known that her being there, because she could have disappeared and not being traced. But they probably would have thought Walker got him, because sooner or later one would have walked up on him dead and tore him up. But they would have had no clue.
And I was good with, I think, a lot of how they did with the character. I'm sorry that the one girl that trusted Rick, that, she was going to say, hey, I'm going to get you in to watch the meeting, to know what's going on. And I was sorry that she turned on him at the end, too, because I really didn't think she would.
We can talk about Thorne.
And well, the girl, the girl that was pretty close to him, got him promoted. Said she was going to get him in to see the program. Just he would understand after he saw it.
Yeah. That was Thorne, the one that was he would drink before Michonne showed up. That he was, basically it was Rick, Thorne, and the other guy, Okafor, that got killed in the helicopter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He seen potential in them too, that they was leader material to get in there and try to change things around.
Right, because he knew what the outcome was, and they really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the end game didn't seem to me like them marching across was going to get him anywhere.
No. And their whole end game, like when Michonne was sitting in that briefing, looking at that screen in the final episode, noticing what they're planning is to wipe out communities.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to take all the kids out and basically use them pretty much slave work, and just whoever they can get out, they get out, and the rest of them they're just going to obliterate.
Exactly, and that that wasn't going to work.
To be one big. They wanted to be the only thing existing in the United States was the CRM. Everybody else wiped out.
Yep. And I was interested too how they did the twist, and I wish Nat didn't get it. I liked Nat right away, and I loved his character. Too. So that sucked that Nat got it. And we all know never did attach to anybody.
Not in The Walking Dead. Not in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and I don't know what character do you think evolved the most over the years?
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna go with Father Gabriel, but even though it wasn't a long period, he had his redemption arc, even though he tried sabotaging them a few times.
Yeah, and of course, how they met him cowering on a rock.
Oh man,
nowhere, scared to death.
You locked your congregation outside for the cannibals to chew. Right. Basically,
right.
you sold your people out. It's like, and Rick knew that right off the gate. There's something with you, and we're going to figure it out real quick.
Well, right, exactly, and he did. He figured, he pegged it, and it happened. It came together pretty quickly. But for me, I think the character with the most growth was Carol.
Yeah. Carol
and she was my favorite, but I think she had a lot of growth to her character because, like you said, she came as an abused wife. Mm-hmm. She had to get over that.
Yep.
And I knew she could handle herself on the down low. She figured it out. You act dumb.
Yeah, pretty much. You did see that in Alexandria.
When she threatened the kid with the cookies.
Oh my God. That's it. That kid didn't know what to think. I'm going to tie you up to a tree and they're just going to come for you.
And bless his heart, though, I think she realized the effect that kids had, because I don't think kids had quite the coping mechanism to deal with the times.
Well, you got to remember, she lost her daughter and watched her get shot as a zombie coming out of the barn.
Right. Right. And that was heart-wrenching. That was really heart-wrenching episode.
Yep, Rick's the one that put her down.
And well, just like the little girl in the very first episode.
Yeah, walking. When he first looking for gas.
Yeah, she was the little girl, and she's walking away from him, and he's got a little teddy bear and stuff, and he goes, "Little girl, little girl."
But did you notice in the series later on, right before they met, who was it? Sadiq, the one that ended up with Rosita having the baby. Right. When Carl and Rick were at that one gas station, they was having their little dispute, because Carl sees things this way, Rick sees things that way, father-son thing. And the girl that walked up, that was the same girl from the first episode in zombie form.
Oh my gosh, I didn't catch that. I'm gonna have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, yeah, because the director said that. They said that was the same girl. She's just a little older. We did kind of paying homage to the first episode. Only Rick was by himself, but we added Carl in the mix.
Right.
And I didn't even know that Carl even got bit, because it didn't show it. You really didn't see it.
And same with Rosita.
Oh yeah, when she fell down, trying to climb up that pipe. Yeah, it's.
Because if you think about, that was the only exposed spot she could have been, because she had the baby in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And she had bitten on like at the back of the shoulder. So no, we never even knew about that until she was talking to Eugene.
That's right. Yeah, and it's like the same with Carl when that zombie got on top of him, or whatever, and bit him, but you never knew it, because it just then it was finally exposed.
And we never saw Andrea actually get bitten either.
No. And there's a funny thing with Andrea. I know you're probably not familiar with the comics or anything like that, what it's based off of, but after Lori died in the comics, Rick and Andrea was the new couple, not Michonne.
Yep. In the comics, it sure was.
Yep, because Michonne was with Ezekiel in the comics. They was a couple. No, Carol wasn't with anybody, and Daryl was a made-up character for the TV show.
Right, exactly. So, I think they did a lot of really interesting twists with it, and to keep us guessing. And
yep.
I think the creepiest episode to me that I still have a hard time watching this to this day is Terminus.
Yeah, the cannibals. Anything cannibal is going to be weird, especially when you got Bob sitting there watching them eat his leg.
Yeah, well, but I mean, having them here they thought they hit the mother lode, because that's what they've all been looking for, is sanctuary. They thought they had found sanctuary, and so here they are. They're welcoming in. It looks like a real community, but they'd been fooled before, so they're like, I don't know about this. And then all of a sudden, they're all lined up and getting their heads bashed in and their throats split. I'm like, oh my God, this was dramatic.
They're all in a train cart together, and just like Rick stated, I love the menacing Rick. That's my favorite Rick. The cocky lines, basically, they're fucking with the wrong people.
Exactly. And then look at Carol Badass there.
Rambo of the group.
And it was because of Rick, though, shunning her from the community like that actually forced Carol to be what she needed to be.
Yeah. An unstoppable force. Like he stated, Carol is a force.
She is. I mean, you didn't, because that's one thing I really loved when she was leaving to go. I can't remember where she was going. She had met the guys on the road. Remember, she had armed to bear. She had everything ready. She was in the car. She's driving. Those guys stopped her, and she's like, "Look, please, I really don't want to do this."
Saviors.
Yes, and she, they thought that she was just going to be some weak female, and here she takes 3 or 4 guys out in 2 seconds.
Oh, she had the gun in her sleeve the whole time.
Yep. So she wasn't, she wasn't going to be a soft touch pussy ever again.
And I liked her and Morgan's their battle, Carol and Morgan, because Morgan's been through some shit, mentally, very, mentally.
That was a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
When Scott, it had been 3 seasons since we'd seen him? Was it up? I can't remember if season 3 or 4 that happened.
Rick ran Rick ran into Morgan in season 3, and that man's brain was gone. He was kill anybody.
Yes, but Rick was able to touch him and get him back.
Mm-hmm.
But he still had to struggle again, because it was one of my favorite episodes of He's Not Here. to
Yeah,
where
it's
he had Morgan was taking off because he's like, I can't stay here. It's bad for me to be here, and he takes off and he ends up running into that guy in the woods.
Yeah, the cheese maker.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that taught him about the
too.
book. Yeah.
Right.
Gave him the book.
Right.
It's basically taught him how to fight with the
sword,
I understand
staff.
what he was doing. The staff. I understand what the guy was doing. Life is precious. Times like people can change, but there are also people out there that are just pure evil. There's no changing them.
Oh, true.
And I see what Morgan. Yeah. I see what Morgan was trying to do. We don't have to kill. That's basically what he was trying to tell Rick. We don't have to kill everybody. We just got to see if they'll change. If not, there's got to be other ways to do this without all this killing. And I believe that's what Carol got tired of seeing people die. She's like, I can't watch it no more. Everybody that I've known, I can't watch it. I can't see people die. But
and her
when you're in battle, yeah, and her having to kill,
she just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, she done had enough of it. Enough's enough. But like Rick says, if you don't fight, you die.
And that's why the kids were so vulnerable in that, because Rick saved that one gal from her abusive relationship with her and her son, and but he didn't make it out of the horde because he just, bless his heart, he couldn't do it.
Well, Rick's emotions played a lot too, because he had lost Lori. I get he's. Man, did he have a spell with that, hallucinating phone calls and everything?
Yeah, that was pretty wild. That was definitely wild.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I would have liked to have seen them delve into why that, how badly did it affect Carl to have to be the one to shoot Shane?
Oh yeah, Carl that not only that is he shot his mother too after birth.
Right.
I mean, Carl went through his fair share of, a lot of mental, but I think Carl took it a lot better because, the way he would, talk to his father or whatever, especially in Alexandria, when he stated, these people are weak. They're going to make us weak. Rick's like, that's not happening. We are who we are, you know.
And
Carl seen it, and he adjusted. He was kind of like, Carol, we're going to play stupid, but we know who we are.
Right.
And that and that's pretty much when Rick was fighting the abusive drunk husband. He let his emotions. He fell in love. He's like,
Right, and then the guy gets slashed anyways with a sword because he's an asshole. So
yeah, he could come out there with Michonne's sword. I'll kill you, sucker.
But yeah, but to flash forward, I was very, Jadis. I love her. I liked her character a lot, and the growth of her character was really interesting too. And there at the end, she redeemed herself.
Yep, she sure did. When Rick had her dead to rights, right there.
And I didn't think it was possible.
Yep, because she knew when Rick and Michonne got together, that is a force. They can accomplish anything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a force to be reckoned with.
And I was glad that she did what she did in the end, and so that gave her, her character justice. And then I can't remember. Did she actually? Because I don't think she ever told Rick and Michonne when she gave Rick the ring to give to Michonne that this is what Father Gabriel. I don't think she ever mentioned that. Hey, I just been seeing him every day, one day a year, and he gave me this to give to you. So
she sure didn't. She did not let that slip.
Yeah, and I would have liked to have seen her go ahead and tell him that.
Because you got to remember, Rick doesn't know anything about who's still living.
Right.
He don't know about the Commonwealth, that they're all held up in the Commonwealth, and Alexandria pretty much there's nobody there because they're all at the Commonwealth.
Right.
He has no clue. It's been 10 years.
Yep. And I liked Carol's character with Ezekiel. That was a really cool season. I liked that season really well. I mean, what's not to love with a tiger? I mean, come on.
You gotta love the tiger. Rest in peace, Shiva.
Oh man, you didn't have a heart if you didn't cry when Shiva died. Come on.
Oh man, it killed Ezekiel. It killed it because when everything went to hell, that tiger, Ezekiel was there for that tiger. That was his road dog. That was his buddy.
Yep, and he finally told the story that he'd been a zookeeper and he had taken care of him all these years, and he wasn't going to let him die and starve because what a thing to have to decide to even as like if there's a natural disaster like the end of the world type scenario and you have animals, what do you do?
Oh yeah,
I mean, do you just turn them loose and hope that they don't die after being let loose, or do you leave them in the house to die and try to leave food and water, and then after they starve to death? I mean, I told my husband, I said, I would just have to stay. I just have to stay and die with them then.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
because I wouldn't be able to leave.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be able to leave.
If it was me and a dog, and everything's crumbling around, I'm gonna keep that dog because we've been through some hell.
Right, and exactly, but you have to remember, I've got cats, and they're full of pussy animals. That you open the door from one of my cats, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not going out there." What the hell's wrong with you, Mom?
So, I guess we're gonna die together. That's all I can say. Right,
because I would not be able to just leave my animals defenseless to just fend for themselves. I just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
no,
I loved that part.
Back to where you were talking about emotional scenes. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the most emotional. Now, this is my opinion, not everybody else's, probably, but the most emotional episode was Negan and his wife.
That was
I
good.
think. Yeah, even though he was doing his dirt behind her back, but he still, in the end, it was all about Lucille.
It was.
And he went to greater lengths to try to keep her going.
And I'm glad they did that backstory.
Yeah.
Because that let everybody know exactly, how did he get this bitter?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was always a smart ass, but
oh, absolutely.
But he had that sense of humor, smart ass, cocky attitude. But if you notice in that episode, he was scared to death. He didn't even want to kill a zombie in the beginning.
Right, exactly. He was like Eugene.
Yeah, he was. He would go out there. Hell, Lucille was stronger than him. She'd go out there and knock him off. There you go. Let's watch a movie. But he had to become something to. And you notice that when they when they got him in the chair and they had him tied up in the chair, or captured him the first time and stuff like that.
Right.
And when she had finally got back home with the medicine and things like that, not to keep getting off subject, but that was powerful for him to walk in knowing she had already killed herself because he'd be gone so long and dealing with that situation.
Right, and she knew she wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, knew she wasn't going to make it, and stuff. And she didn't want to bite him when he returned, so she had the bag over the face. And him sitting at the end of the bed on the floor, that just killed me right there. It's like, this man he's gone now, period.
Yeah, and it was funny, too, because it took Lydia to bring him back.
Yeah. Yeah, because he walked off and she was being attacked in the RV, and he just walked off like, I don't care.
Right. Right.
But I liked it when he told Guy, he said, "Man, you talk too much," and he said, "You better hope I don't stop talking."
And no shit.
Yeah, that Negan I like. Yeah.
trying to think what other pivotal moments were there in some of the seasons. I think there's a lot of pivotal moments. It's hard to even pick them out.
There's a lot. Daryl and the girl that couldn't talk sign language. Their relationship.
I can't think of her name right now. I cannot think of her name.
Connie.
Yes. Connie. Connie and her sister.
Yeah, Connie. Yep, Connie and her sister. And even and what is that girl, Leah? The one Daryl he was kind of in love with. They met her at the cabin.
Right, and then when they lost some people when the cave caved in. They weren't sure what happened to some of them.
Connie made it out. They thought she was. Yeah, she ended up with the one that Michonne come across. He tried to poison her, and goddamn, I can't even think of his name now. But had her locked in that room, had her hallucinating and everything.
Yep.
That's when she found the boots to Rick that he had thrown in the boat or whatever.
Right, on the ship.
With the cell phone pictures. Yeah.
Yep.
That clued it in that, hey, Rick's still kicking.
He is still alive.
That's right. But as far as the finale with Rick, trying to throw him off like I'm the only survivor, I'm going to walk up to the gate like, yeah, there I am, nobody else lived, even though Michonne's climbing a tree, infiltrating in Jadis's gear, doing some Spider-Man stuff. Stuff through there.
When after episode 5 ended, I'm like, there is just no way in an hour and 15 minutes they're going to be able to give this story closure.
No, I was thinking of season 2. I was like, if you want to get real down to it, you're going to have another season. I'm really disappointed at the General Bill's character. He was hardly in the season, maybe once or twice. When he was talking to Rick, and they did the echelon briefing with Rick, that was a powerful scene too. Him basically running everything down to him. This is what we're going to do. Right. This is how we operate. And that look, we've all seen that look in Rick's eyes. Because the knife come out underneath the table. He's like, you done fucked up.
Yep. And I love that because I think the actor's name is Terry Quinn, and he was actually in the series Lost.
Yep, and he played the original stepfather.
Yep.
And he was also in that Stephen King series. He was in the first season. What was it called? Castle Rock. It's on Hulu. That's a pretty good one too.
I'm gonna have to check that out because we let Hulu go a while back. So I think hubby's wanting to see some other stuff, so we might get it back. But
yeah, the first it's pretty wild. That first season is they're in Castle Rock, which you'll see the Shawshank prison is in that show also. Yeah, so that's a little call back to the Shawshank Redemption. And season 2 of Castle Rock is to deal with misery. It's Annie. It shows Annie when she was younger and had a daughter, and way before she got obsessed with Mr. Author or whatever. This is way before all that.
Sheldon, Paul Sheldon.
Yeah, Paul Sheldon, your biggest fan.
Oh, I love it.
You get a little back history on Annie Wilkes.
That's interesting. I'm going to have to definitely check that out now. And it got my interest.
Mm-hmm. And it shows Christine, the car. It's in there too. They put the original car in there. It has to deal with towns of Castle Rock and Salem, if we all know Salem's Lot.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Some spooky stuff going, supernatural, crazy stuff in that series, but it's good.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. I mean, it's kind of like a version of Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Only you got crazy Annie Wilkes running around.
Oh, I tell you that I gotta love that character.
Yep. Yeah, Misery is one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
Classic.
please. We have so much. The DVR, we're constantly fighting over who gets the DVR space.
Hmm.
But that was literally one of the first movies we taped. So, or we
Hmm.
DVR'd.
I used to have a bunch of Stephen King movies: The Graveyard Shift, Misery, Pet Cemetery, what is Tommy Knockers, Sleepwalkers,
The Lawnmower Man.
The Lawnmower Man. Yeah.
Oh, you can get this one on YouTube Movies. I was shocked because it's hard to find. Thinner.
Yeah, Thinner. Thinner was good.
That's always a
Yeah,
good
Thinner.
one.
And even the little short TV series that he brought out, like The Stand. I love The Stand.
Oh, The Stand
original,
is awesome.
Yeah, the original, and I kind of like the remake too with James Marsden and them.
Now, I haven't seen
Little
the
dark.
remake yet.
It's a little dark. It's a little darker tone, a little bit more in depth with it, and you know, but it's still good. It's right up there with it. So.
And I do love that Stephen King has to do the Alfred Hitchcock thing. He's got to be little cameos in a lot of his stuff. Because honestly, one of the largest speaking roles the man ever had was in Creepshow. He was the green guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, he helped do that movie too. Yeah.
Oh yes. Well, yeah. And he admitted when he did Maximum Overdrive that he was just stoned out of his gourd the whole time.
Oh man, but made a classic.
Oh, exactly. He doesn't realize it, and he looks back on it. He doesn't like the movie.
He don't like he doesn't like what is The Shining either.
No,
he hates the way Stanley Kubrick did the movie.
Yep, and I had heard that too, and I read about it, and I watched he was involved with the remake. Stephen King was.
Yeah, with the guy from Wings.
Yeah.
Steven Weber. Steven Weber.
Yeah. And that was good, and it was a different, not that much different of a version, but I think, King was upset because he said that the character in The Shining was not what he intended. He was a drunk. He wasn't supposed to be a psychotic character. He was just supposed to be caught up in a drunken psychosis.
Yeah, kind of like Jack Nicholson, which they kept that with him, the drinking thing, but well, he wasn't all the way. Yeah. Well, he wasn't all the way drunk because in the beginning he was sober. He did sobriety. Right. He started drinking again. Yeah.
Right, and it was like the demons of the alcohol, and they took it a more of a supernatural thing with the history of the hotel and all this other stuff, and I get that because Scatman his role was awesome. I loved him in that. I really did. He did an awesome job with that movie. But they took it for a wrong turn, and so I can understand that Stephen King didn't really care for it.
But, yeah. If you're gonna do King's movies, you got to do it justice.
Exactly, and that's why I kind of take some of those with a grain of salt, and that's why his shorter stories, like the Shawshank Redemption and the Mist, those were all short stories that were able to have the time to tweak it and make it better.
Yeah, riding the bullet and all that stuff.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, a lot of Stephen King, because I think the first Stephen King I remember on TV was the original It. Still one of my favorites.
Oh, absolutely.
The remake, nah. But
I
remember watching it.
On it either.
Yeah, and then but he had a lot, with little mini series or whatever, and a lot of those turned out to be mini series that he would show, like It and I can't even remember. It was so long ago, 100 years ago.
Well, but like the chapter plays and stuff that they mentioned in Misery. So that was good too, because that's what he did with the Green Mile. We were talking about that earlier when you were doing your chapters. So that's how he released the Green Mile. It took 10 months in chapters.
Yeah. Mine not so long. I mean, not that long, but
I'm glad we didn't have to wait that much.
No, I mean I could have gave it to you all in one rip, but I didn't want to. I'd been like,
Well, no,
nah.
it's more fun the other way.
Yeah, and like I've grown up, and the teachers would be like, he's got a very vivid imagination. Yeah, that whole story I made it up, everything, characters, the synopsis, uh, because I've even with the songs I do, I don't write them down. I use my brain. I just come up with a concept in my head and I run with it.
Right, exactly.
And I tried, and I wanted to bring forth in that story, Backwoods Terror, the supernatural aspect of it, the soul selling aspect, and your 80s slasher vibe too, and creature feature all in one combination.
Right,
because the main character, when he killed, he was a creature. He was a snake-like, not really a snake, just a monster with snake tongue that would devour. And the plot to that is he understood his thing at the end because he kind of redeemed himself, sacrificed himself or whatever. When they started destroying that ranch, you were taking everything that he had built, away from him. His wife left him because of starvation because he was selfish. He didn't care about anybody else but himself, so she had to leave. And when she met him again, you haven't aged a day. Well, it makes you think, are you dead or are you alive? And like you stated, in limbo, I'd never come across that in my mind, but that was a good point. He was kind of there,
Yeah,
but he had also
know his headspace.
Yeah, but he had also been weak and bowed down to the death, sold his soul. And it's like the devil stated, you have something, you want something, but you are nothing. But we all want something in the end.
Definitely.
Work, do my dirty deeds for me, and I will bless you with what you want.
Interesting. It was. I thought it was a fun. It was a fun to hear it narrated too, instead of just reading it in a publication. It was more fun to hear it read. So that was cool.
Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, I'm working on another story that's really kicking my brain because it's more psychological. It's got to deal, with being I guess how he would say an asylum would kind of wash your brain of who you really was. But, to be fit for society, to put him back in society, which I'm giving a spoiler. Hope people's catching on to that.
Well, yeah.
But,
hint.
hint, yeah, there's some teasing here. But,
what was that one movie that wasn't? It was been out for a while. It's Leonardo DiCaprio of all things, and it was a very
Shutter Island.
Yeah,
Shutter Island makes you think. Is that the kind of what the second story is like? Is it like Shutter Island?
Yeah, because that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Possibly, if you want to look at it that way, but it's also got a twist to it. I can't, I gotta throw you off here and there,
Well, and it's fun because there's movies. There's all different categories of movies. Sometimes when you sit down to watch a movie, you don't want to have to sit there and put your thinking hat on and have to figure out the movie and dissect it every little way. It's fun to sit down and watch a movie that you don't have to have that much invested in it, like watching a comedy like Big or Driving Miss Daisy or something like that. It's not something you have to analyze. Shutter Island, holy shit! I swear I thought it was no.
When I watched it, I'm like, what is going on?
I wanted to watch it more than once.
And when you get to the end, he was actually in there.
Exactly. I was like, and don't jip me. Don't jip me emotionally at the end of the movie. I will be so pissed off. It's like, no, don't do that to me. Oh no.
Yep. And not to keep jumping off The Walking Dead, but the third story I'm writing, it's called Rush, and if you've seen the old school movie with Rutger Hauer, The Hitcher,
Yep.
And with C. Thomas Howell and Rutger Hauer, it's going to have that kind of vibe to it. That's what you're going to think right off the bat. But you got to look at your character. It's not C. Thomas Howell character. He is a killer, and he's doing his killing across the United States, doing his road trip, his murder trip. But he's going to come across the hitchhiker that is going to be just a little bit crazier than this guy driving the car. And he's going to see that because, hint, hint, spoiler, teaser. But it's also gonna question, he's gonna take an infatuation, a weird obsession with this guy that, and he's gonna be stalking him too. Like every turn that he's gonna see this guy and be like, how in the hell are you getting to these places that fast and you're on foot?
True.
Because after he's done, he does pick him up at one point, but he's going to boot him out because he's going to be, this guy is, you got a weirdo driving the car, but you got a super over weirdo in the passenger seat. I got to get rid of you.
Right. And well, that was kind of a little bit in the book of Riding the Bullet.
Mm-hmm. I never thought of that.
He was pitching.
Yeah. Yeah, I had never thought, and when I write these stories, I never think about these things. I just go with what's in my head.
Right.
And it's weird. It's weird how they come together with other things.
That was cool.
Yeah,
but I was happy with, I think, The Walking Dead and how the ending was, that they satisfied everybody, I think, because I don't think anybody wanted to them not see them go home.
Yeah, I wanted it, and that was me from the get-go when I first watched the first episode of it. We're all glad to see Rick back on screen, thank God.
Right.
And his character, because the pandemic and everything screwed it all up.
Oh, it did. It really did.
Yeah.
Well, because Carol, that was supposed to be their show. It was, they were supposed to have the Daryl and Carol show there, and that didn't work out well because she couldn't, go overseas to what they needed for her to do, and so, what a mess. And same with Andrew Lincoln. He's from the UK.
Yeah. Yep, he's from England.
Yeah. So it was hard for him to have to get in there and do stuff.
Yeah, he stated the reason why he left at the end of, what was it, season 9, like mid season. He was just, he basically, he'd been filming. He had, his family's overseas. He hadn't been with them. He wanted to get back over there, spend time with them, and instead of filming. Basically, he needed a break. That's what it was.
Well, yeah. Well, because he wasn't getting in, to spend with his family, because they honestly did not think The Walking Dead was going to be this popular.
Oh no. And another main reason, it was the first is his family, and he said, when y'all killed Carl off, he said that right there. He said I don't know, but when they did that, I guess, it did something for the Rick character, for him at that time. It was like, when you killed Carl off, it was like, it's like, I need a break, y'all killed Carl off, for God's sakes.
And I'll never forget the kid having to sit and eat all the pudding.
Oh man, he was having a field day.
Oh, I remember hearing Chandler Riggs talk about filming that, and he said after that, I never wanted to see chocolate pudding again in my life.
And that was a big can. Oh my God.
Oh no, bless his heart.
And seeing Rick in that state laying on the couch, he just took a beating out of this world.
Yeah. Yep.
The governor worked him over real good.
Yes, and it was fun to see the knock at the door.
Yep. Michonne was on the right path, and it's good. And I liked it because they all got separated. I mean, because you get to see what each of these the small groups is, how they're adapting to things, being separated.
Right. And I mean, how lucky was it for Tyrese with a baby and 2 little girls to finally run into Carol?
Yeah. That was an emotional episode when they found the house and them 2 girls. I mean, even though that one little girl was crazier than hell.
Oh, I bless her heart. She got really screwed up.
Yeah, and you got the the little sister finally coming to terms to things, but just look at the flowers.
Well, that was one of the most controversial episodes.
Oh yeah. Carol just look at the flowers, Lily. Just
Lizzie. Look out, Lizzie.
just it's, man, when you gotta shoot a kid, that's your mental state is gone.
And it was hard for them to, I think, to do that episode, honestly.
Yeah. But I love and one of the best chemistry was Daryl and Maggie's sister when they got separated and doing their thing.
Yes.
Him teaching her the ropes and
yes. And they taught each other.
Yeah, basically, yeah. When she got took into that that car, kidnapped or whatever. Daryl's not had good luck with ladies.
Bless his heart, he hasn't. But especially ones though. Their relationship was very unique as well. It almost started off like big brother little sister type thing, and it was just starting to develop. I think they were letting that see where that was going to go.
Yep. I think he did that with all the female characters with Daryl. He gets attached. He gets emotional in a way, but he's also who he is. Yeah. And the most heartbreaking part, everybody's smile. Maggie's all smiles when she finally gets there, and when Daryl is carrying her out after being killed in the hospital for the trade-off. That right there was epic. I mean,
it was.
He's carrying her out. It's just like he's just sitting there like shit. It's just.
And wasn't that the end of that season?
Oh,
I want to say it was. No, I think that was.
I think it was mid-season finale.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah, the end of it was when they first ran into Aaron. He's leaving the water in the road.
Right.
And what? No, I take that back. Rick put the machete to the Terminus guy head in the church, but it still wasn't over with them because they all left there because they burnt the church down.
Right, and, I remember that.
I believe. Yeah, and they were out there on the street or out there on the road. I mean, looking like pure savages. Eating dogs and starvation and no water. They was living it.
Yeah, that was getting real. Yeah, it was getting real.
Yeah, because right after that is when he ran into Carol, Tyrese. Tyrese had the baby, and he ran up there, and it was good to see that Judith was still alive.
Yep. That was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to jump down. I got to jump down. I've got some other stuff I've got to do later today, but I just wanted to pop up. And I think we both agree about The Walking Dead and how well it went and our expectations, and we want more.
Oh yeah, got to bring us more. We're getting Daryl and Carol in June, July, something like that, and Negan is on his way. They're filming. They're calling for extras for zombies, and I wish I could be one. But
you will not believe this. One of my besties lived in Griffith, Georgia. That's where they filmed a lot.
Yeah, I'd still like to go down there, even though the sets are being tore down, and I'd still like to go down there and tour them roads they walked and see Alexandria.
It was cool.
And the sanctuary and all that.
Real quick, it was awesome too because since they filmed so much, most of the cast got apartments and stuff in Georgia.
Oh yeah, guarantee it. They can talk about. I'm gonna say this real quick, and I'll let you jump off here. The Kingdom, the whole community of the Kingdom,
loved
that
it.
Is owned. That is owned by Tyler Perry. They paid a good share of money to film there. He owns that. That is the Tyler Perry's all property.
Yes, and you couldn't help but fall in love with Ezekiel. So I see why Carol fell in love with Ezekiel because they were just alike.
Yeah, like he said, you got to fake it till you make it.
Right. So he was one of the biggest posers too.
Yep. And we gotta love Jerry, the sidekick. You gotta love Jerry for his sense of humor
Jerry
and
made
comedy.
it. I love Jerry. Yes, absolutely. I love Jerry. I was so glad to make sure that he made it out okay. And
yep, had plenty of kids in the process.
hey. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. But to sum this all up on this live, we got a reunion. Probably not the one you wanted, but we got Rick, Judith, and Little Rick,
yep.
as we're going to call him.
Yep.
All I can say is Rick made it home.
I think we'll see more. I think there's more for us to see. I think there's more coming.
There's more reunions coming. You can guarantee it.
Yep.
And we'll see. Right. We'll see how Daryl and Carol end, and hopefully they'll make it back. Will Carol mention that Rick is back? Because the timelines are kind of weird now. She did tell him on the radio that somebody came back, but we don't know who. Because it kind of cut out.
Yep,
will she say, hey, Rick's back? Because remember, Daryl was also out looking for him too. He's going to find his brother.
And look how far she's got to go to find him. She's on a mission to find him for a reason.
Yeah. Will she tell him off the gate? I don't think she will right off the bat, but I think there's going to be some dialogue. There's going to be some.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But they got to get through but there's also more CRM. There's, with the experiments and the variant walkers that they're trying to make the super walker,
Right. Make them smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they got to get rid of, whoever's overseas, doing that.
Yep. So that's probably going to be a nice lead in. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is. Well, other than that, guys, there it is. Episodes 5 and 6.
Thank you so much for having me up.
No problem. I'm glad that I could get on here and talk the dead with somebody instead of talking to myself.
Oh, anytime, man. I love that. Anytime science fiction, you want to talk King Kuntz, I'm your girl.
If it's horror movies, I can sit here for days and we can talk.
Oh, man, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks again.
Thanks to everybody that was listening in the chat. I'm out. More Walking Dead coming. Negan and Maggie, Daryl and Carol on a mission.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Catch y'all on the next one.